chicken with 2 lemons from Marcella Hazan's The Essentials of Classic Italian Cooking. And that is quite literally what it is. It is chicken with 2 lemons. I'm Alex and I'm not a skilled cook, but I am enthusiastic, and frankly I feel like even I could, well, put a lemon up a chicken's up. On Marcella's roast chicken with lemons recipe, she says, again and again over the years, I meet people who come up to me and say, I've made your chicken with 2 lemons and it's the juiciest, best tasting chicken I've ever had. And you know, it's perfectly true. She was a modest woman. So let's see what all the hype's about. We've got a good farm-raised free-range chicken here. Ooh. Wash the chicken thoroughly inside and out with cold water. That goes against everything that I've heard before. The chicken's going in the oven, so everything's gonna be killed, and if I wash it, it's just gonna put germs everywhere. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Remove all the bits of fat hanging loose. You see any loose fat? She might mean these bits. Okay, this is the fat, the loose hanging fat. Thoroughly pat it with kitchen paper. Kind of feels like time to remove the string. Introducing a new salt grinder, and we sprinkle generously inside and out. Thank you. And we wash the lemons in cold water and dry. Now we soften the lemons by putting them on the chopping board and rubbing back and forth with a lot of downward pressure. And then we puncture them in at least 20 places with a toothpick. I might have lost count and done about 40. Place both lemons inside the chicken's cavity. Come on. Just got 2 in there. You're doing a lot of work, chicken. She says to close these up with a trussing needle and twine. I don't have those, but you can substitute with toothpicks. And the main thing she says is to get this pretty tight, but not airtight, because the chicken's gonna swell up, and if you get it too tight, then the chicken will burst. That is definitely not airtight, but that is one gnarly looking chicken. It's very metal. So the chicken's gonna go on a roasting pan and it's gonna go breast side down. This makes it a self-basting chicken. Now this recipe gets a lot of praise online, but I just can't wrap my head around how it's not just gonna taste like a plain chicken with 2 lemons. So as a failsafe, we're going to be trying one of Marcella's other recipes. La Peverada Di Traviso, or a peppery sauce for roast birds. I didn't say that right. Now this sauce is going to cook for as long as the chicken itself, so we're going to pop it aside for the moment. So we need 115 grams of mild pork sausage. Now she says specifically not to use the ones that are branded as Italian sausage because they often have fennel put in them. This is from a small grocer locally and is Irish pork sausages, and I think it's going to be the closest thing. So I've never skinned a sausage before. I guess you just rip open the end. 127, well I can't put it back in. 115 grams of chicken livers. Ooh, look at that. 131, that's 3 livers. 25 grams of pickles, preferably cornichons. Cornichon? 31 grams, but it's gonna even out. Get a food processor, and then we blend them all up until they're a thick, creamy consistency. What do we reckon? We'll call that thick and creamy. Now we need 1 tablespoon of onion chopped finely. We've got a little bit more than a tablespoon, but we've got a little bit more of everything else, so sure. And grated lemon peel, 1.5 teaspoons. Hey, it's ended up being exactly 1 teaspoon. So this is on a medium heat, and we're putting in 6 tablespoons of olive oil. The onion goes in, and we're going to be looking for it to go a pale gold colour. Frankly, everything's looking pale gold in olive oil. Okay, maybe I'd call that a pale gold. It's goldish. Whew. So in goes our paste. Look, at this point, I'm not going to lie, it looks incredibly unappetizing. We have to stir very well. Then season. She says to be liberal with the pepper. I'm very okay with that. Add the grated lemon. Stir thoroughly. Then 150 mils of a dry white wine. I went for Italian. This one says pecorino. It's like the cheese. And stir it, and then turn it down to a bare simmer, and then we cover and let it cook away while the chicken goes in. In our oven, preheated to 180 degrees, we're going to put our chicken in, and we're going to allow it to supposedly self-baste for half an hour. So it's been half an hour, and it's time to flip the chicken. We're supposed to avoid breaking the skin, because if we leave it intact, it's going to swell up like a balloon, and she says it looks cool. You know when you're cooking and you realise you missed a step? I'm supposed to put twine between the legs. It's way too hot now. I mean, it's doing fine. And back in for another 35 minutes or so. You know what? Screw it. I bought the twine, I'm gonna do it now. So the reason she says to do this is so the legs don't spread apart further as the chicken cooks. We're not supposed to pull them together, just keep them in place. Recipe followed. And off you go. Okay, let's check up on this sauce. Woohoo! I reckon it's looking good. The chicken's had another 35 minutes in the oven, and it's time to turn the heat up to 200. It allegedly is gonna puff up. It makes no difference to the flavor, but it sounds exciting. So I thought it could be nice to just have a little bit of green on the plate. So I've picked out spinach sautéed with olive oil and garlic. Doesn't seem too tricky. If a single Italian vegetable dish deserves to be called a classic, it is this version of spinach, which epitomizes the simplicity, directness, and heartiness that know no regional barrier and categorize good home cooking throughout the nation. She says that if we use frozen spinach, it's considered an incomplete, tolerable alternative. I'm not just going for tolerable here, so we're going to be using fresh. Believe it or not, this is the amount of spinach that we're going to be using. Now Marcella says snap off and discard the hard end of the stem. That's a lot of work. That is a lot of work that we have to do here. Like, we've got a chicken in the oven. Maybe spinach came with harder stems back then, but oh, we're not gonna eat that. That's fine. So we have to cook the fresh spinach in a covered pan for 10 minutes until it becomes tender. So I'm halving the recipe. I think I got the wrong pan. Something just doesn't feel right about this. She says that the spinach should have all the water that was on it when we washed it. Now this was pre-washed lettuce, so I'm gonna add just a little bit of water to kind of get it going. Well, something's going on down the bottom. Oh, that's insane. It's like it's disappearing. In the meantime, we're gonna peel 2 cloves of garlic. The recipe, when you're halving it, calls for 1, but do you guys feel like garlic just doesn't taste like garlic as much as it used to? Okay, I think that spinach has well and truly wilted. And we drain it into the very messy sink. 2 tablespoons of olive oil into our pan. Add the garlic and turn it onto a medium-high heat. In the next step, we take the garlic out, which makes me think that we're making a garlic-infused olive oil. So we want them to turn into a nut brown, and I'd say that's pretty nutty. Now goes in the spinach. Ooh. Now we cook this for just 1 to 2 minutes, tossing so everything gets coated. Taste for seasoning. It is gorgeous and could use a little more salt. I forget if she says pepper, but you know, why not? Now we'll remove it from the heat until the chicken's done. It's been in for 20 more minutes and time to take it out. I'm not sure how much I was expecting to puff up, but there's definitely a bit of... There we go. That's our roast chicken with 2 lemons. My grandmother was clearing out some stuff and she gave me this old carving tray. This is as good a time as any to use it. We'll get those juices onto there. And while that sits, we'll get our sauce. Oh, it smells fantastic. And our spinach. I reckon it's time to serve up. Millie! Millie! Chicken with 2 lemons.
Oh, is that spinach?
Let's get the trussing. Are you knitting?
Crocheting.
Is there a bit that you want?
I'm partial to a leg and a thigh. Can I have the extra hairy one?
Is this the extra hairy one?
Yes.
Oh, that skin is so crispy. This is our backup sauce. Normally you pour this over the top and I'm gonna put it on the side so we can give the chicken a chance.
Was this the liver? It's really different.
I was expecting something a little bit more smooth, but it's come out a little bit chunky. I don't know if that's on me or if that's just the sauce. On 3, 2, 1.
It's zesty.
It tastes like more has happened to that chicken than just having 2 lemons shoved up.
I'm surprised. That's actually like packed full of flavour.
How did that happen? Did chickens just taste this good the whole time and we didn't know?
This is really good.
Okay, sauce time.
Sauce time. The liver adds a smokiness to it.
The chicken by itself is so fantastic. I was scared that it was gonna overpower the chicken, but it doesn't. It's almost like you've just got a really nice stuffing. Both work so well. I think we're neglecting our vegetables.
Yes. You know, like when spinach gets kind of like gross and bitter? It doesn't have that.
It was just cooked down in a bit of water and then tossed with some garlic olive oil. It stayed fresh tasting, but at the same time, it's cooked.
I was kind of having trouble picking what that extra little bit was. Usually when we have garlic, it's more of a, and now we're about to have garlic. This is nice. This is brunchy.
So I've been told that I need to have a sign off for when I'm finishing these videos.
Dollary doos.
Dollary doos. I think Marcella was right when she said that a lot of people are coming up to her complimenting this dish. I think I would be doing the same. Thanks for joining me again. I hope to see you next time.